Hey YouTube. All right, so this is Natalie, by the way. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about relationships, and in particular, I'm going to be talking about dating in 2020 from the perspective of a married lady. Just to give you guys a little bit of background on me, I am currently married. I got married October 25th, 2019. So November, December, January, February. So I've been married for almost 4 months. And before that, obviously, I was engaged, and my husband and I have been together all told for next week will make it 3 years. But before I was married, obviously, I was single. And obviously, before I was engaged, I was single and all that stuff. And I spent quite a bit of time single. I was single from 27 until 33 or 32, right? Yeah, so I was single for like 5 years. And then before that, I was in a long-term relationship that resulted in an engagement, and then we broke up. And I was in that relationship for 8, almost 9 years. It's hard for me to remember exactly how many years at this point, but I know that we were together from when I was 19 until I was 27. So I feel like that makes 8 years, right? That's right. Yeah, 19 to 27. So we were together for 8 years, almost 9. And so in between the time that I was in a 9-year-long relationship, and then I met the love of my life, my husband, I was single for a period of 5 years, trying to figure out the dating world after having no experience basically being single. My entire teenage life was taken up with a boyfriend. So I had a boyfriend, the same boyfriend, from my freshman year of high school until my freshman year of college. And then I got with my ex from my freshman year of college until I was 27 years old. So until I had gotten out of law school, and then I was like in my first 2 years or so of practice. So it's been so basically, I was a serial monogamist, I think is the best way to put it, right? So I just went back to back. And so then when we broke up, I was like single, and I had no idea how to be a single adult because I hadn't been a single teenager and I hadn't been a single young adult. And here I was at the end of my 20s, nearing my 30th birthday, single, and not knowing what I was doing. God. And I didn't have like any guidance whatsoever from anyone other than this like puritanical stuff that I learned at home because I was raised in a very religious household. And I just didn't find that served me very well in the dating world. So I developed my own personal rules of what worked for me as a single lady in the world. And so I thought that I would share some of those things. And this is what it's not going to be, though. It's not like a success guide or anything like that, or like how to get a husband or anything. Like, not at all, because I don't think that the end goal of dating should necessarily be and now I found my husband. I don't think that that's what it is. I think that we put too much of that emphasis on dating, and dating should be more about, having fun, finding out what your do's and don'ts are, what your non-negotiables are, finding out what your goals are, what you actually do want. And then once you figure those things out, then dating for the purpose of being in a relationship, if that's in fact what you want. So I feel like we're taught to go into every interaction with a man as though this man is going to be your future husband. I know that I was taught that because, like I said, I was raised in a very religious household, but I don't think that is in keeping with our current times, and I think it leads to a lot of disappointment, and it leads to a lot of wasted emotions when you could just be enjoying your single life, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, like whenever it is that you find yourself single. So this is especially for those people that have been in either marriages or long-term relationships and then are getting back into the dating world. That was definitely my experience. So cutting right to the chase after 4 minutes and 29 seconds, but cutting right to the chase. So first of all, set your intentions within yourself first. No, the first thing you really need to do is figure out, are you ready to date? Whatever your intentions are you ready for the dating world, for a dating journey. Because if you're not ready for a dating journey, then you are wasting your time and setting yourself up for emotional, hurt. You're setting yourself up to be hurt if you're not ready to get into the dating world. Dating includes rejection. It includes where your expectations are not going to be met with every single person that you meet. It's going to include disappointment. And are you emotionally ready to handle that? Are you in a place emotionally where you are ready to interact with other people? You're going to be bringing whatever baggage that you have, whether that be emotional baggage, financial baggage, previous relationships, children, divorce, whatever it is that you're bringing into your relationship or your experience with another person, they're also bringing their own baggage. But if you have not contemplated your baggage at least and thought about what it is that you want to do with yourself in the future, then it maybe is better time to not date and focus on yourself, love on yourself, treat yourself good, refine your self-esteem instead of going and just jumping into dating, because no person is going to fix you. Only you can fix you, right? So that's the first thing that I really wanted to point out there. Evaluate within yourself whether or not you're ready to date. Number 2, you want to set what your intentions are in dating. So setting your intentions means that you need to not just go into dating and then whatever happens, happens, right? That is one way to look at it. Like, some people do that, but I think that ends up leading to a lot of disappointment and confusion and like wasted time. It's very good to go into any situation, no matter what it is, saying, my end goal is to either A, have a good time, date, meet people, figure out how to date, right? Or B, I am now emotionally ready to look for a long-term relationship or to look for my future, husband, future life partner, whatever the case may be, right? So those are the 2 different intentions that you want to set when going into the dating world, okay? Number 3, you want to make sure that you're clear on what dating is. So these are really in no particular order, but you want to know that you're clear on what dating is. Dating is not acting as though you're in a relationship with everyone that you're with. Dating is not a relationship. Let's just put it that way. It is not boyfriend and girlfriend. It's not husband and wife. It is not necessarily, although it can involve having sex. What dating is meeting a person and going on dates with them. However you want to construct those dates, whether those be dinner dates or going out dancing, going to clubs, if you want to, go making pottery or whatever the case may be. But dating is getting to know someone in a social setting a lot of the times, or getting to know them at home, but it does not necessarily involve you miming what a relationship is. So dating precedes a relationship. When you meet a guy for the first time, you guys are not just automatically in a relationship. You're dating, you're getting to know each other. So that's, the third thing that you want to make sure that you understand. What is dating? I saw in a lot of so there's a lot of Facebook groups that I'm in, and a lot of Facebook groups, especially older people, they see dating as, I'm now with this girl and now we are dating one another as though we're in a relationship. But that's not necessarily what dating is. Dating is really going out on dates with people. Now, if you are in a relationship and you're only going on dates with one particular person, that's separate than you being a single person and dating. So I'm talking about being a single person and dating. Number 4, whatever number we're on, you want to think about what your comfort level is with dating more than one person at a time. So obviously, if you set your intentions for, I just want to date, I just want to figure out what my do's and don'ts are, I just want to figure out what I like in a person, what I don't like in a person, then you want to make sure that you are deciding within yourself whether or not you're comfortable dating more than one person at a time. And you need to find out whether or not the person that you're seeing or the people that you're seeing are dating more than one person at one time. And you should not judge a person. If you guys are not in a relationship, if you say at the outset, look, this is what my intentions are that I'm just looking to date, I'm just looking to have a good time, and then they say that's what I want to, and then you say, well, I'm going to be seeing other people, what are you doing? And if they say they're going to be seeing other people, there should be no issues. But a lot of times people don't have that conversation. And that's a very adult conversation to have, and there should be no shame in having that conversation. We're socialized to meet a person, fall in love, get married with that one particular person. That does not work with everybody. You may meet someone and it's love at first sight and you guys are totally on the same page. But what happens a lot of times is that people are pretending as though that's the experience that they're having, because it's shameful almost to say that, I don't actually want that with this particular person, or I'm not ready for that within myself. So this is not going to be the only person that I'm going to see. So it's really important to state at the outset what your intentions are. Some guys are not going to be okay with that. Some girls are not going to be okay with that. Some people are like, no, I only want you to see me. And then if that's not what you're ready for, then you need to go on about your business and let them know that that's not what you're ready for, that's not what you're looking for, and see somebody else, okay? So aside from stating, I guess this is number 5, aside from stating your intentions and finding out whether or not you're going to be seeing other people, you want to make sure that you find out what their intentions are. You want to see from the person that you're dating, what is it that you want? And you have to pay attention to 2 things, right? When you are trying to assess what a person is looking for in a relationship. And you should never leave this to chance. Don't ever go into any relationship with anyone or any dating situation with anyone without first, maybe the second or third date, maybe not the first date. That might be a little too bold or a little too off-putting. But at some point in time, if you're going on more than one date with a particular person, you want to assess what their goals are for the future. So if your goals are to look for a long-term relationship, or your goals are just to date and not to look for a long-term relationship, you want to make sure that your goals are aligned with that person. And what the person is going to do is they're going to say one thing and then they're going to act in a certain way. Now, they can say, yes, I am also looking like you, just to date, and I'm not interested in a long-term relationship. But then in their actions, they may act like they're jealous if they find out that you're seeing other people, or if they know that you're seeing other people. They may act like they want to monopolize all of your time. They may act as though they don't want you seeing anyone else. They may act jealous, right? Well, then those person's words are not matching with their actions, and that's a discussion that you need to have with them. If their words are not matching with their actions are really going to dictate what it is that they're really looking for, right? And what they'll do is people like that are kind of contradicting what they say with what they do, are oftentimes not ready for the type of relationship that they say that they're ready for. So if you tell a guy, look, I'm interested in a long-term relationship, I'm looking for my husband, I don't want to play any games here, so if you want to date me, you have to be looking for the same thing too. Most people don't like ultimatums, and ultimatums, we can get into that separately, but you need to set boundaries. People will say things like, don't make ultimatums for me, in order to keep you from setting your boundaries. But you do need to set boundaries in order to know what the other person's intentions are. So when trying to gauge someone's intentions, you need to tell them what your boundaries are or what your goals are. Some people, in order to keep you or to engage with you further or to have sex with you, potentially will say things like, yeah, I'm also looking for a relationship. But then they might do things like breadcrumb you, not return your phone calls. They may act in a way that, they don't introduce you to any of their family. They don't introduce you to any of their friends. You don't know what their social media is. You've never seen their house. You don't know anything about their life. That person's not acting as though they want to be in a relationship with you. So if someone says one thing and then acts a different way, that person does not actually mean what they say, and they're not a good candidate for whatever type of relationship it is that you're looking for with that particular person, and you should probably move on. Of course, discuss it with them, give them the opportunity to address it, but do not give people multiple opportunities to use or misuse you after you have stated your intentions. Another thing that you want to look for when you're dating, so let's talk about if you're dating and you are not looking for a long-term relationship, you're just looking to date. Here are the benefits of that. What you're going to be looking for with that is this is your time to figure out yourself, especially if you were like me and you had no idea like how to date or what exactly was it you were looking for. I myself am personally like a people pleaser. So when I'm in a relationship, I am, I don't know exactly how to put it, but I like to serve. Like that's just my love language, is to give, to serve, to cook, to clean, to take care of you, to make sure that you're good. Like that's just personally how I am. Not everyone is like that. So you have to be careful if that's the type of person that you are, a giver, a nurturer, that if you're giving that type of energy, it's for someone that is deserving of that in return. And so it's good if you are dating and you have in your mind, look, I'm just dating. I am just figuring out who I like and what I like. It allows for you to interact with people without activating girlfriend mode, activating fiance mode, activating wife mode. It's like something that sometimes is brought out in people that are like me, that are more nurturing types of people, is that when you just focus all your energy on one person, it's really difficult to compartmentalize. It's really difficult to compartmentalize that, this is not my boyfriend, I'm only seeing him, this is not my boyfriend, but I can't help but to do all the wifely things that I like to do to show my affection for somebody. So it is really sometimes helpful to help you to compartmentalize and to help you to look at a person objectively, to see more than one person. And of course, you have to make it very clear that you're seeing or dating more than one person. You never want to mislead anyone or lie to anyone. But I found that in my dating life, especially as I got older, like when I was like more in my 30s, I found in my dating life that I had a lot better interaction with people that I was dating if I stated my intentions up front and I said, look, I'm just, dating, just trying to meet people, see what's going on out there, just interested to get to know people, go out, have a good time, not really looking for anything too serious. And, I do see other people. And, for some guys that was not okay, but for most of the guys that was fine because they appreciated the honesty. People want you to be honest with them. As time goes on, honesty is definitely the best policy. So I guess that's like another pointer, is that honesty is the best policy when you're in the dating world. Brutal honesty is the best policy, actually. And I don't mean by lacking tact or being uncouth or being rude to people. What I mean by brutal honesty is probably more like radical honesty when you're dealing with someone of the opposite sex when you're dealing with somebody that you're dating. Let me just put it that way. So when you're dealing with somebody that you're dating, it is important to tell them, hey, look, these are my expectations. Now I've been talking about people that are not looking for long-term relationships or people that are just looking to date, but let's talk about people that are looking for long-term relationships. So for me personally, there came a point in time when I was like 31, 32, somewhere around there, where I said, you know what, I think I'm done with dating. It's fun. I enjoyed it. I learned so much. I had so many fun experiences, went on great trips. It was a great time. But I think now I'm ready to settle down, right? When I decided that that's what I wanted to do, I was still doing the same thing of like dating and meeting people. But what I would do is first or second date, maybe. This may not work for everybody. This was just me personally. First or second date, I was saying, oh, so what are you looking for in a relationship? And I would hear what they would have to say. And I would be like, oh, okay, well, I'm looking to eventually get married one day. I'm looking to settle down. I am, I've had fun dating, but I think I'm done with that. What are your thoughts on that? And then I would ask them their thoughts. And then usually within the first or the second date, I could just move on to the next person or the next, suitor, or however you want to put it. And then nobody has wasted their time. Most times people will, when you say to them, I'm looking for a relationship, most times people will be honest and say, nah, that's not really what I'm looking for. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's not a negative reflection on you if that's not really what they're looking for. There are people that will lie. There are people that will lie and say, oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for. But then they'll act in a different way. They'll, like I said, ghosting, breadcrumbing, not sharing their social media with you, not introducing you to people. You're not seeing them except for in certain settings. You don't see them in multiple settings. You've never met any of their friends. Like all those type of things. I'll do a different video on that. But there's like different dating red flags to let you know this person's not interested in a relationship. And that would make it easy for me, because I stated my intentions at the beginning, to say, you know what, I already told you what my intentions were. I told you what I wanted. You're not meeting my expectations. It was really nice knowing you, but I'm not going to talk to you anymore, you know? And that would just kind of be the end of it, because I wasn't looking for friends. I have friends, you know, I don't need any more friends. I wasn't looking for friends. And I also wasn't looking for just like someone to be frivolous with. I was looking for something more serious. So all that was a matter of me sorting through the chaff to get to the wheat. I was just sorting through the people that I was meeting to eventually find the person who had the same goals and aspirations that I had. Now, some people may say things like, it's important not to come on too strong, blah, blah, blah. That's just a thing that people say to keep you kind of in a situation where you don't want to be. There's nothing wrong with stating your intentions respectfully and then respecting what someone else has to say in return. And if you're willing to accept someone who is on the fence about being in a relationship, more power to you. But I suggest not wasting your time on someone who expresses ambivalence about being in a relationship, meaning that they're not sure if they want to be in a relationship or not. Being unsure of whether or not you want to be in a relationship is an answer that they're not ready to be in a relationship. Do you want to wait for that particular person to get themselves together and then to decide that they want to be in a relationship? If that's not what you want to do, then you should really move on, because what you're doing is you're spending your emotional capacity and emotional capital on someone who's not going to pay back the dividends of the relationship that you're looking for. And like I said, once again, not all women need to be looking for a relationship when they get into the dating world. Really, when you first get into dating, it's a really good idea not to look for a relationship right away, not to look for a commitment right away, not to fish for any of that. You never really want to be fishing for that. You just want to state your intentions. But what you really want to do is see, what do you like? You know, what type of conversation do you like? What type of a lifestyle do you like? Like so for example, if you're dating someone and he's a night owl and you're not, you're an early bird, and he gets on your nerves because he's staying up late at night and he's keeping you up at night, then maybe that's not somebody that you want to date. Maybe that's going to lead to some issues in the future. If they're not good at resolving conflict or expressing their emotions or expressing their feelings, and you're more of an expressive person, so you need someone to be expressive to you back, then maybe that person's not going to be compatible to you. So it's a really good idea to just get to know people where there's no pressure of a relationship being there. You're just figuring out kind of the type of person that you're into. You're figuring out the type of dates that you like to go on, the type of interactions that you like to have. Another thing that I just want to talk about briefly here at the end of everything is the sex thing, right? So we're in the year 2020, it's the year of vision, right? And it's really important to keep your eyes open when you're going into relationships, that men and women do have different expectations when it comes to sex. It is not to say that men do not become emotionally attached when they have sex, because they say things like that, but that's not actually how they act, especially not from what I've seen in my personal life. I've seen guys act super crazy over girls that they say aren't their girlfriends, and it's really probably because they're having sex. But when it comes to women, there's a certain societal expectation that's placed on us to only have sex with a certain limited amount of partners. So in order to keep their numbers down, or in order to not feel bad about engaging in premarital sex, a lot of times women will go back to the same sexual partner, even though that person is not objectively treating them well. Like, the person doesn't make them feel good outside of sex. That's for multiple reasons. The top reason that that's for is because sex releases endorphins, it releases dopamine, it makes you feel good. And so what the body will and the brain will respond by doing is to go back to that thing that made you feel good. Just like with drugs, just like with cigarettes, just like with alcohol, just like with food, there's all types of things that can make you feel good that your body will make you go and seek in order for you to feel that same positive feeling again. And if that person doesn't have good intentions towards you, it's really hard to engage yourself in a good relationship or a good interaction when you're just really seeking out the sexual gratification that you had before. And so what people will do to justify that to themselves is say, oh, I'm just in love with this person. They treat me terribly, but I'm just in love with them. You're not in love with them, you're in lust. Take a cold shower, calm it down. you know, cut that thing off. And then maybe that thing is in that relationship, that situationship. Cut that thing off, and then maybe it's time for you to back away from the sex and see more than one person, or not date at all and center within yourself, you know? So sex does cloud judgment, no matter what many people say. It does cloud your judgment. It does tend to make you think like that this person is better than they are, more important to you than they are, because they may potentially be good at sex. So that's always something to consider and to be very cautious of. I am not against sex while dating. I am against unsafe sex while dating. And I always caution people that sex can cloud your judgment and make a bad person, or a bad person for you, seem like a good person because of how they make your body feel. You know, people call it things like soul ties, but I think about it more in like a psychological, physiological thing, where physically this person's making you feel good. So you keep going back to the physical thing that's making you feel good, although emotionally they are hurting you. So it's really important to try to take that factor of sex away sometimes, just to evaluate, how good is this person for me really? How good is this situation for me really? And it's a lot easier to do that when you're not just seeing one person. When you're just seeing one person, you kind of hang all your expectations on that one person, and it's really unfair to that person if you really think about it, because how the way that they're going to feel is that, you know, they have to live up to all your expectations or else everything is horrible. Well, sometimes when you're seeing more than one person, no one person has to live up to all of your expectations. You can have your needs of maybe emotional fulfillment met. Maybe there's a funnier person that you like seeing. Maybe there's a guy that's more adventurous. Maybe there's a guy that, you know, reminds you of home, and he's more like people from your neighborhood. And so you just like having a good time with him and hanging out with him. Sometimes it's good to see people for who they are, enjoy them for who they are, and then they don't have to fill every single emotional need that you need out of a partner, because you're seeing people for who they are and just enjoying their company. It's a lot easier to stay objective when you're not hanging all your expectations for your future husband on that person. So that's kind of like the advice that I have from 5 years of being single, 9 years of being in one relationship, 5 years of being in another, and now 3 years with my current husband, who I've been married to since October. So if you guys want any more of this like relationship-like advice, go ahead and comment down below. I thought that this would be kind of appropriate for the season of Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day just passed, and maybe it didn't go according to how you planned or wanted it to be because you weren't with the love of your life on that day, or maybe the person that you're with didn't meet your expectations. And so I guess that my advice to you is to get out there and meet more than one person, remove sex from the equation, go on actual dates, and start seeing what it's like to meet different people, step outside your comfort zone, and let go of those pre-existing preconceived notions that we have about what the perfect romantic partner is, and love you first before you engage in dating. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.